Good afternoon, madam.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, can I start?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Just give me a few seconds.
Sir, Madam has joined, sir. Hello. So, Madam has joined.
Yeah, I'm just starting. Just give me a few seconds. So, students, today what I'm going to do is I'm going to go a little advanced now. I will start with AI application in agriculture and farming industry and the other kind of related industry. and then I will move to IoT, and I will also try to go to deep learning. Somebody actually last time asked me, I think it's Pooja, and I will go to the deep learning concept, and I will be also giving you an assignment with certain help, with a link, maybe if it is possible and I can share. Otherwise, what I will do is I will share the link file where you have the Python coding and everything. I'll explain it when I'm reaching. So this is the agenda today, starting with AI application in farming and mining industry, how it is used, how companies are using it. Already the products are out, and then we will move to deep learning and understand that, and then we will move to IoT, and I will do one case study that how our IoT, similar field like how it is used in farming and in the agriculture. So let us move to the AI application in farming. So just give me a few seconds. Can you all see the screen now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
So we will be starting with something called AI application in agriculture. So I will give the examples first, and then I will show you the videos and the site also. I will take you directly to the company site and show you that how they are basically using AI to leverage certain industry application. So if you talk about agriculture, you all know that agriculture is humanity's oldest industry, and until the 200 years back, it was the biggest. And today, if you talk about India, our 70% of our people are engaged in this profession. We had something called agriculture 1.2, like we would talk about something called now industry 4.2. So industry has reached from first version to second, third, and now we are in the fourth version where the industry 4.0 means connected world, where we are using sensors, IoT, AI, and everything becomes smart, everything connects, everything can transfer information from one to other. We have talking cards, we have connected roads, we have connected boats. So everything is like able to communicate. So that's the world which we have entered into. But agriculture, if you see, it has there's not been so much of advancement in that. But from the past few decades, or one decade, you can say, there is an advancement in terms of AI. Can you hear me, or my voice is breaking?
Here, ma'am.
We can hear you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So what happens? We were in agriculture 1.0, and that was a manual farming era where the farmers used to use cow, horses, and toiled the farming physically. Then industrialization happened. Agriculture 2.0 arrived, where we started using farm machines, which started replacing the human labor, just like how last time I told you the human labors in the factories were replaced by robot and robotic machines. In surgery also, I was talking about the Da Vinci surgery, where it was basically this. So what we have reached now is industry 3.0. Then then from industry 2.0, where we started using tractors and certain machines which replace the human labor, it came to industry 3.0, which came the era of biotechnology, where the farmers started using genetically modified seeds, to get certain kinds of modified varieties of farming products. And also they started using certain types of pests or certain other things. Now AI has made industry enter into, or agriculture, sorry, enter into 4.2, which is also called the age of precision agriculture. What is precision? If you remember, last time when I was talking about surgery, I told you that the surgery has become precision surgery. The chances of recovery, the chances of getting accurate treatment is now much higher because of the use of AI in surgery. Similarly, the agriculture industry was such where the harsh weather conditions, even if it is predicted using any kind of a satellite image or whatever weather forecasting, still was not very precise. And that was the reason why the agriculture and the farming was facing, especially in India, where we had a lot of news channels covering the news that farmers are committing suicide, and they are not able because the was damaged because of the harsh rain or something like that. And because of that, the farmers losing, even though there are a lot of progression in this industry where we have modified seeds, we have rainwater harvesting, we have ITC companies like ITC, HUL, installing free rainwater harvesting, or eChopal, helping them with the kind soil testing. Many things have come, but still it is not a precision agriculture. So the use of AI, the central idea of using the AI for precision agriculture is that farming is not an homogeneous aggregator. It's a significant variation across the various farm field with various kinds of conditions like soil condition, pest, seed, amount of water and moisture in the air. So many things are there. Then how do you sense? How do we use it? IT is also nowadays used in this. So let us understand how companies have gone ahead and used AI to do something called precision agriculture. So when we talk about precision agriculture, as I already told you, I don't know how many of you know about this company. It's one of the leading company, John Deere. It's one of the leading company in tractors. And it is not because they come up with a tractor which can plow the land and do the farming, help in doing the farming, but they keep on inventing with new technology. So we have learned about autonomous car, we know about the car driven by technology, but the tractors having technology, something new which John Deere has come up with. And this is available in India also. So I'm mostly focusing on something which is available in India. So what happens here? You have something called smart tractors now. Now I will show you the video of that how it does. So what happens? These smart tractor have sensors, which is IoT again, and they have the sensors which basically tell them the level of moisture in the soil. It also benefit the farmer by giving certain input about the chemical, the water level, the what kind of crop should be grown, what kind of crop quality will be yielded after they do the farming. So basically what is happening, AI technology with the leverage of computer vision and data from the IoT devices which are used, and also the robotic, the sensing condition or the sensing capability has increased, and it gives the input to the farmer about everything about the soil which can't be seen with the help of eyes. So basically it uses a sensor, this particular tractor. I'll show you the video demo of this. It uses the kind of seed they're going. So John Deere has developed this smart tractor, and it is also called smart harvesting. So there are cameras to the tractor. They take picture of everything they see underneath. Now what happens? A human eye can see something which is in front, which can be in the back also. Sometimes you turn your head and you can see in the back or on the both all the side. But how can you see on if you're sitting in a vehicle underneath the vehicle? So this is where the camera is there in an AI trained to distinguish between a crop and a weed. Weed is the biggest problem for a farmer. You might have heard about Haryana, burning the weeds, to making the soil ready for the next, farming or next, yield. So in that case, what happens? The yield is something which, if it is still there in the, the leftover after the crop is being harvested. So that weed, if it is still there, it is not going to help the new crop to grow well. So what happens when you plow and when you put the seed? This particular tractor uses AI to distinguish between a normal crop which is there and the weed, and also direct an automated sprayer to apply the herbicides on the weeds. So what happens? This herbicide can dilute the wheat and make it dissolve in the soil. And even the smart harvester, they use a digital camera to analyze the image of the grain. You know, uh, this also when the crop is actually growing at a various stage of the uh, growth of the grain, it can be seen before harvesting. So now, before, what was happening, the farmer used to see the grain size, length, and use his own experience to understand whether the crop is ready for harvesting or not. So what happens here? This particular vision, the computer vision, which would take the help of the the images from the camera in the tractor, can analyze whether the grain is ready for harvesting or is there any grain which is damaged. So this computer vision is trained on million of image to become highly accurate. And the farmers are also using embedded IoTs, and this IoT studded sensors are there, which are basically just a minute, just give me a few seconds. Just give me a few seconds, I'll just restart. Okay, so this is basically what is happening is the data from the sensors, the data also sends the moisture level in the ground after the irrigation is done, and what is the volume of irrigation which need to be done in the farming. That also it guides through the sensors. It controls actually, and the sensors also can measure the level of nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, which can be used basically to control the application of the fertilizers. It also along with that, the certain advanced countries are using agricultural drone to spray the fertilizers and pesticides in a very targeted manner. Normally in a manual spray of fertilizers and the pesticides, what happen, in certain portion of the crop you will have the pesticides which are sprayed more, and it will damage the crop. So what happens, the drones are controlled by the AI system and by the smart devices, agriculture devices, so that it can map, it can target the pesticides in a very targeted manner. It can also survey. The drone is fitted with a GPS system, digital camera. They are also programmed to know the farmer's boundary. They should know that which is the boundary in which the crops of that particular farmer and it needed to be sprayed with the pesticides or the fertilizers. So this thing is taking place. The computer vision help in analyzing the condition of the crop at a very very micro level. You know, the farmer can use the action after getting all the inputs. They can use even drones which is fitted with tank and nozzles basically to spray the fertilizers. Even some farmers use it for irrigations. So intelligent farming machines are using IoT sensors, drones, complement, and these are basically giving the input. This gives the input to the system, and then there is a AI based algorithm which do a predictive analytics. It helps the farmer to do a better forecast about the kind of crop they are going to do. It also tell that what is the future demand and the price fluctuation of a particular crop they are growing. So basically it helps the farmer to optimize their farming. So AI technology is really productive in nature. uh, just a minute, just a minute. Sorry. So these technologies are widely used. If you can see that these are the sensors which you can see here. Just a minute, and my dog is actually uh, disturbed. So if you can see here, just a minute. So if you can see here, these are the IoT sensors which are there in the soil, which is embedded. All these red colors are the IoT sensors. And certain countries, they may embed a sensor in the plant stem, also in the leaf, also to understand the level of photosynthesis, that much it can go ahead and give. Then these are the drones I was talking about. These drones have tanks which is filled with pesticides and the fertilizers, and it can be controlled. It can understand that what are the areas of the farming land. It will put the spray the fertilizer and the pesticides in a very targeted manner. So this is one example. What I will do is, I will, before I go to the next example, because you won't remember this if I don't show you the video of this. So just give me a few seconds. I'll take you to the site and then we will see the video. Pay attention. You will find that it's very interesting one. And don't think that these are the very hi-fi technology. This is not used in any other company. So I'm just going to share the site of the company with you, and you can understand how. Just a minute. Yeah, we got it. Can you all see it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, somebody is asking me what is weed. Weed are the leftovers, actually. The leftovers, maybe the rural student should know it. Weed is, I don't know how to tell that in the other language. It is the leftover of the crop, which is after harvesting, the root and the leftover, which still remain in the soil. So what the farmer does, they plow the land and they take out whatever is a leftover so that the soil is again ready for the next crop. But sometimes what happens, certain the roots and certain kinds of the leftover of the crop still remain embedded in the soil, and it is not plowed properly. So that's called weed. So I hope I was clear. So if you can see this is a John Deere auto tractor. This is available in India also, and this is an automated automated vehicle. You can see there is a screen here in front of the the mirror, and I will show you this is in India. I don't know whether you people understand Hindi or not, because this will be in Hindi. Can they understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So maybe you can see the visuals and you can see.
ये जमाना है अपनी सोच पर लगी सीमाओं को पार करने का, अपनी क्षमताओं का निरंतर विस्तार करने का, आने वाले भविष्य को आज ही देखने का, क्योंकि ये जमाना है टेक्नोलॉजी का। टेक्नोलॉजी जो आपके काम को सरल और आपकी जिंदगी को समृद्ध बनाती है। जॉन डियर किसान भाइयों के लिए ऐसी आधुनिक टेक्नोलॉजी हमेशा पेश करते आए हैं। तभी तो हमने पावर स्टीयरिंग, पावर रिवर्सर, 4-व्हील ड्राइव, ऑयल में डूबे डिस्क ब्रेक्स जैसी नई तकनीक आकर आपके जीवन को सरल बनाया। अब पेश है एक आधुनिक और दमदार टेक्नोलॉजी, जॉन डियर ऑटो ट्रैक। एक ऐसी टेक्नोलॉजी जो शुरू करेगी खेती का नया युग। ऑटो ट्रैक एक प्रिसीजन फार्मिंग टेक्नोलॉजी है। इसका हाई एक्यूरेसी रिसीवर सैटेलाइट द्वारा सुधारित सिग्नल की मदद से आपको दो कतारों के बीच समान अंतर रखने में सहायता करता है, वो भी 2 इंच के भीतर तक की सटीकता के साथ, ताकि क्यारियां बनाने या बुआई जैसे काम आप आसानी और सटीकता के साथ कर सकें। इसका उच्च क्वालिटी डिस्प्ले यूनिट खेती के उबड़ खाबड़ कामों में भी आपको सभी जानकारी आसानी और सरलता से देता है। इस डिस्प्ले यूनिट पर ऑटो ट्रैक के सभी कामों का पूरा विवरण मिलता है, जिसकी सहायता से आप सभी काम आसानी से कर सकते हैं। इस डिस्प्ले यूनिट की विशेषता ये है कि कड़ी धूप या कोहरे में भी आपको जानकारी आसानी से दिखाई देती है। इसका ऑटोमेटेड ऑटो ट्रैक स्टीयरिंग बिना हाथ लगाए ट्रैक्टर को पहले से तय किए गए मार्ग पर स्थिर रखता है। अब तो आप जान ही गए होंगे कि ये टेक्नोलॉजी प्रिसीजन फार्मिंग की तरफ एक बड़ा कदम है, जो आपके लिए भारत में पहली बार लाया है जॉन डियर। इस टेक्नोलॉजी का क्यारियां बनाना, बुआई तथा अन्य कामों के लिए उपयोग करना मतलब अच्छी फसल और अधिक फायदे की ओर बढ़ना। ऑटो ट्रैक सिस्टम सुनिश्चित करता है कि सीधी कतारें बने, जिसकी वजह से ट्रैक्टर के काम करने की गति बढ़ती है और एक समान अंतर से कतारें बनने के लिए आपको कतारों में ओवरलैप करने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ती। इससे समय और ईंधन दोनों की बचत होती है और साथ ही साथ कुशल ऑपरेटर के ऊपर की निर्भरता भी कम हो जाती है। अगर ऑपरेटर गलत दूरी पर टर्न ले ले तो ऑटो ट्रैक स्टीयरिंग अपने आप ही उसे सीधी कतार में वापस ले आता है। इस टेक्नोलॉजी की मदद से ऑपरेटर को कम थकान होती है और वो लंबे समय तक काम कर सकता है। सीजन के दिनों में आप ज्यादा से ज्यादा काम कर सकते हैं और बेहतर कमाई का लाभ उठा सकते हैं। अंधेरा या धुंध जैसी परिस्थिति में भी आप अपना काम बिना रुके कर सकते हैं। इस तरह आप ऑटो ट्रैक टेक्नोलॉजी की मदद से
See this in India, the AI is not built because the farmers are not very literate. There's a digital divide, or you can say digital literacy in the farmers are very less, and this tractor AI will work only when it gets input. AI can have to work on certain data set, and that input has to come from the sensor. So that's the reason why in India they are using this, where they are basically helping them to do. But then I can show you that this is how the display look and how basically everything it can do. So it has in other countries. In India, I'm showing you this is the only thing which they can do. But in other countries, they have the sensors which are embedded in the soil to tell the moisture level, nitrogen, phosphorus, tell everything and help in kind of a more predictive or even doing the forecasting of by the farmers to understand whether what kind of crop and what will be the output from their land. So this is one example. Any questions so far? No. Okay, let's move to the next example now. And the next example is about a company called Aquabyte. And here I'm talking about applying machine learning. So how Aquabyte used the machine learning basically to help the fishers, So basically Aquabyte is a company which is founded by Princeton graduate. So Princeton University is a very prestigious university where most of the students, engineering students develop in the project certain real model, or I was talking about that you can come up with new idea and all, and you can bring something new. So Aquabyte is a Silicon Valley company in US. It has applied the machine learning and computer vision to build up a 250 billion aquaculture industry. Now, what is the company basically doing? What they do is they collaborate the machine learning. They have brought a collaboration where the machine learning engineers, marine biologists, and the salmon. Salmon is a fish which is very expensive and a very sought after fish. So the salmon farmers, their experience, and the marine biologists, their experience, and the machine learning engineers, they collaborated all these people and came up with a kind of a system or algorithm which can help these salmon farmer to get a better output of the fish farming. Like agriculture, fish farming is also a very old industry. Now farmer basically used to manage the fishing basically with the help of their intuitions and experience. So this is the company which is basically operating in Norwegian, and the salmon farming is done over there. Normally what happens in this particular thing, that the Norwegian salmon farmers, they use a ring kind of a system which is called pens. Ring means that they build up a kind of a what you say container, ring container, a round container in a pond where they have the fishing, where they do the fishing. These are called pens, and these have a diameter of half the field of a football, and each pen can hold about 200,000 fish. salmon I'm talking about. So the farmer wanted, actually, a lot of challenges were there when they were growing the salmon. They always wanted to have this kind of a, technique to find out how much to feed a fish. Because just fish, like I always tell that dog, if you give the dog anything and in everything, every quantity, they will keep on eating. Just like cow, if you see, they keep on, I will talk about that also today, that how much they basically keep on chewing it. We feel that they're eating every day, at every time, 24 bar 7. So similarly, fish has also that the same thing. They can, you feed fish anytime and they can take the feed. So normally, how to feed the fish? Because again, if the feeding is too much, it is going to affect the health of the fish. How healthy are the fish? What is the weight distribution of the fish in the pan? Because you have more than 200,000 fish in one container, which they put in a form of a container in the thing, in a particular, what you called, the pond where they're growing the fish. So how much, what is the weight distribution of the fish? When to harvest that pen and take out the fish when they have reached to the maximum weight. So Aquabite came up with a technology where they brought the power of data and machine learning to help the farmer answer some of these query which they had, intelligently, by using the artificial intelligence and machine learning, the subset of that. So in order to give, and the main goal is to result in more profitability and sustainability. So and this similar kind of technology students are used even in autonomous car and in drones. So what Aquavite did, they actually realized the power of the computer vision and AI, and they came up with the one of the subset of AI. I'm going to talk about that today, which is neural network. A particular domain of AI which use the computer vision and recognize or classify certain pattern, unusual pattern. So that is neural network. I'll talk about that later when I'm talking about deep learning, which I think Pooja has asked me to talk about it. So Aquabite trained the AI model with the help of these marine biologists to, and they kept on retraining after getting all the inputs to understand the water condition and the particles in the water. These are the inputs which they used to get along with the IoT, because these are the both example of machine learning and IoT. So the AI are basically using the camera which is fitted with the GPU in the center of the pen where the fishes are are growing. The camera take the continuous image of the salmon fish, analyze them in the real time, and also process different process from the farmers. Like for example, they can see the top 5% of the whole pen. That also vision they can see on their mobile through an app of Aquabite, that what how many fishes are there and how they are growing. And Aquaguide AI model analyze these images also, which they take it from the camera in the pen. And also they can predict the biomass of the fish. That means the weight distribution of the fish in each pen, that how many fishes are there, what is their weight of the each fish. This information they give it to the farmers, the fish farmers, which helps them to decide when to harvest the pen. Also, it helps them to analyze, to project their revenue from the fish in the pen. They can also, it is combined with the market data, that what can be the future value or the price of that particular fish farming which they are doing it, when is the best time to get the maximum revenue from this fish. So all these data are actually helping the farmers to increase their sales cycles. Actually, the sales cycle has increased from 12 months now 8 to 18 months. There's one more problem with this farmer was facing. The problem was sea lice. The sea lice is a kind of a insect, just like our the lice in our human body. So these lice are per fish. So these lice are actually damaging the fish, and they were damaging their health, they were spoiling their health. So they need to actually know that what is the number of lice a fish has. So normally the lice count is something which is very difficult to analyze. The farmers initially used to go manually, check with the 10 to 20 fishes and find out, because there will be certain kinds of a mark which they can find. Lice can be observed on the skin of the fish also, or the worms on the fishes. All these can be seen, and sea lice can actually cause a lot of stress and physical damage to the fish. So how to identify accurately the number of lice on the fish is something which AI and machine learning is predicting accurately. And it was also, I must tell you, that 15% of the salmon were dying because before harvesting, because of this lice problem. So this is the thing. And this third thing, what they basically tried to get the information was about the feed, that what is the kind of a feed they have, what is the amount of feed they have to give to the particular pen, so that all the fish which are there, they can eat and they can digest it. So this is one thing. And also it helped the farmers in reduction of the feed waste, and the pollutant which it was costing. So Norway is basically in Scotland, and they also expanded to, I'm sorry, from Norway they went to Scotland, they went to Canada, they went to Chile, and they're also planning to come to India to basically help the fishing farmers to come up with this kind of a technology to help them to get the maximum yield from this particular thing. So I may show you the video in the end. So I'll just go ahead and go ahead with the other example. Now, let us also see some example of AI in retail industry. From farming, I'm now going into the retailing industry. So there is a company called iFi. iFi is a company which has actually bought a disruptive technology in the retailing. So what they have done, in a busy, okay, fine. This example, I will take it in the other class, because now I'm going to just focus on the agriculture and farming industry, because I don't want to shift your attention from one thing to the other. So let's go to the other one. One more, example of AI in healthcare, because last class I was talking about AI in healthcare. So I would like to give you one recent example which I found recently, and I thought it is very interesting. Just give me a moment. So what has happened is that we know that there are a lot of blind people who don't have a, or people with a half vision, and there is a big problem that they can't travel alone. They may get lost, they may get injured, and they can't. Sometimes what happens is they go to a familiar route, practice it every day, and they understand that how many steps has to be taken after every step, what will be the stairs, and all those kinds of things. So on the familiar route, they can walk slowly and gingerly, but unfamiliar routes they can't. They need some assistance. So the result is the mental and physical health issues which they face. So there are hardly any solutions which a company or anybody or any business house can provide them. So what the maximum solution was that you give them a white cane, or in certain countries like in US, they have a practice of a guide dog. They train a dog, and the dog can take a person to certain locations. They can, help the person basically to reduce the number of injuries they can get. So, and also the dog helps in detecting the obstacles. That is what was done with the help of a guide dog. Now, what has happened is recently the company, one of the company came up with something called Smart Cane. And this was a Smart Cane was actually a kind of a project which MIT students have done. And later on, this particular project was taken over by a company. And this company came up with the idea of coming up with a Smart Cane, which can use the power of AI and sensors, again, the IoT, to, guide a blind person to reach to any unfamiliar familiar, environment, and protect them from injuries, get them to anywhere. It is just like an autonomous car. You sit in the autonomous car, you just feed the destination. It will take you through the car to the destination accurately. It will stop wherever there is a, wherever they detect a particular obstacle, it can sense it and it can take that. So basically, I'm sorry, it was not MIT, it is a Stanford University which came out with this project, and they developed the prototype of the project, which is the Smart Cane in 2021. It is a recent one. And this Smart Cane then project was taken over by a company, and they really made and launched this in US, which helped the visually impaired people to walk faster, walk with a greater confidence, avoid injuries and all. So let us understand how this works, right? And the cost of the Smart Cane is only $400, and it is very light in weight, and everything is very good. So how does this work? I'm so sorry, I'll just go to the last slide again and I'll show you. So just like an autonomous car, this particular Smart Cane has, if you can see that, it has sensors in the cane. It has an algorithm inbuilt into the system, and it has a wireless communication device. It has a vibrator near the place where the person can hold the handle, and it gives a feedback in terms of vibrator to the person when there's an obstacle. There's a microprocessor controller. So what it does is basically it take the input, and this particular sensor in the cane is just like a lidar. Lidar uses the the technology of it is also called light detecting something, which is a 3D sensor, and this particular 3D sensor measure the distance between the cane and the object around him and her. So it is not about the object in front of the cane. It can sense the object just like a car, an autonomous car. For example, this is an autonomous car, and the autonomous car have sensors in the tire, in the wheels. They have a lidar on the top which rotates. It has a camera. I will talk about the AI and the role of AI in autonomous car, how it works in the next session, in the next class. So what happens? The cane also have a sensor, and which has a 360-degree approach, where it finds out around the surrounding of the person. Within the few meters of the person, it can identify the obstacles on the sides, on the in front of the person, and at the back of the person. It can tell that, it can detect that any obstacle, and it sends the instruction to a motorized wheel and an audio message to the user. And also it can be used, the vibrator also can be used. There is a digital camera which takes a picture of all the objects, like the stop signs. For example, a person need to cross the road, then there is a signal, so it can take a picture of the signal. The AI model decode that image and send an audio message to the user. So see how beautifully the system is designed. So here, one place the sensor is used to detect, which is an IoT application, to detect that there's an obstacle on all the sides. In one way, you are using a camera, and the camera, whatever input is coming from the sensor, and the camera is going to the algorithm of the AI, and the AI is predicting and giving a alert to the person. It converting those images, understanding the images and understanding the obstacles. It convert, understand, and give understanding to the audio message to the particular blind person that there is an obstacle. Hey, stop. Hey, it is now a red signal. Please stop. Don't move. Now you can move. Walk slowly. All these kinds of things it can tell. It can also monitor the user position, the speed of his walking, the direction in which he's walking. There is a GPS installed. The GPS also guide, and you can just tell through the voice command that you have to go to a shopping mall nearby, or you have to go to a grocery store. You can tell the name. The GPS automatically guide you to take you through the audio messages. Now walk left, walk, turn here. All these kinds of things they can tell you. The sensors also uses a microcontroller which receives the data from the sensors. Also uses the AI to interpret all the data, plan the navigation, send the instruction to the wheels. So the wheels take them. Audio feedback is also given to the user to alert them on a real-time basis. So this basically thing is helping this normal this particular smart cane is making a lot of difference in the way the blind person is gaining the confidence. They can walk now confidently without the fear of getting injured or accident. So what I want to tell you that AI doesn't work on its own. It need a data to fuel a fire in the AI, even in the autonomous car. So IoT devices are collecting the data, or the camera is collecting the data and sending to AI. And AI algorithm is using an expert system or whatever the neural network, whatever technique they're using. They're using those kinds of knowledge to convert that into certain communication and send it to the person. So this is how millions and millions of the life of the blind people is being changed because of this. The next very good example on the health industry I want to tell you, because these are certain things which I didn't discuss and I just found it recently. So I included that. So there's a company called Moderna, sorry, Moderna. The spelling is wrong on the slide. They also use AI to come up with a COVID vaccine. You all know that the January actually, there was actually one and 2020, I think mostly in the March, when the corona pandemic happened in the entire world and everybody was affected. Everybody started, all the entire world was actually trying to find out a vaccine or a solution for it. But before that, before you find a solution, you have to know the nature and the symptom and the characteristic of the virus. So soon, the characteristic of the virus came out. The scientists could study that and come out and say that, it is a protein shell outside the virus body, which is very protective. That's why you have to wash your hand very, harshly and for certain time, so that it get dissolved when it get washed off. All those kinds of things that the people could find out. Then based on this, on January 11, 2020, the genes or genetic study of the virus, when it was done, by February 24, the 44 days later, Moderna, one company, they shipped the first batch of the vaccine for the clinical trials. And the US FDA actually approved that vaccine, but it was not very successful. I'll tell you that how they use the AI to come up with that. So the company used the AI to understand the characteristic of the virus, right? I don't know whether we have the picture or not. Okay. So this characteristic of the virus, they found that the virus, actually our human body has a tendency to produce different kind of RNA. And this RNA comes, actually is a molecule which is produced in our human body. And the RNA is a ribosomes. And it is also called, the RNA is also called the protein factory in our body, because they produce different kinds of protein in our body. And the human body, this mRNA, there are different kinds of RNA. One is called mRNA. M means messenger RNA. What this messenger RNA does, it messenger RNA carry a kind of a message in the cell, and this message, when it is carried in the ribosome, the message helps the body to produce a certain kinds of a protein, certain type of protein in our body, according to the instruction which is sent by this messenger RNA to the body cells. So what this company did, they used the same concept to build a synthetic mRNA molecule outside the body, right? Because mRNA is produced inside our body, human body, and insert them inside a fatty substance made from a lipid nanoprotein, which can be serving as an envelope or an injection, and inject that into the body of the person. Now what it will do, this mRNA, synthetic mRNA, will carry one instruction to destroy the protein body on the virus. Because the virus, we understood, all of us knew that the virus has a protein shell, which has to be broken. Once it is broken, the virus inside that shell becomes very weak and then it dies, right? So what this mRNA, synthetic mRNA, what they can do is they can go into the body and take a typical type of a message, and this message can go hit the virus and dissolve the protein body around the virus. And this is how the virus came. But this actually didn't come into action because there were a lot of things which were happening and many kind of the vaccines were got rejected. But now it was found that this was actually a best solution which AI could find out to deal with the virus at that time. So even the AWS cloud also, they used basically this Moderna company actually used the AWS cloud platform and their infrastructure to do the clinical research, operational activities, and come out with these kinds of the vaccine. They use the AI model to deploy and develop the kinds of injections and experimentations. Everything is done, but this was unfortunately this could not be implemented. But this particular research using a AI expert system could actually help a lot of other companies to come out with a better solution. Okay, so this also so let's move to something. So this is here, I'm going to stop about AI application. Any questions so far, students? I don't know whether you're listening or not. Any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so let me try to show you a video on Aquabyte. Just give me a few seconds. I'll just open the video and show you. Let me see if it opens. Okay, I got it now. I'll show you. I'm directly taking you to the company's site. So this is Aquabyte company, the fishing company, which I told you. So this is a solution which they have found, underwater camera, online web. So I'll just show you how it works. Okay, I'll just try to find out if I can show you this in English, because in the company site it is in different language. Let's see.
Silence! Please wait for your turn.
Shuffling going on backstage, and I'd like to welcome Brighton from Aquabyte. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Brighton Sheng. I'm the CEO and founder of Aquabyte, and we're one of the few companies taking a Silicon Valley approach to applying computer vision and machine learning to aquaculture. Get the clicker. So a bit about myself. So I'm a machine learning researcher. I studied machine learning at Princeton and started a number of machine learning startups. My last company, we were using computer vision algorithms to diagnose cancer tissue. So normally doctor looks under the
So I'm
microscope,
just
looks
going
at
to
the
skip
cells,
this part.
and naturally you would have similar things in aquaculture.
I've already
Our
told
first
you all
product
this.
is really around biomass estimation and sea lice counting. So just a brief, we actually have time train the algorithm to segment each of the fish and counting. In this case, we're also able to identify each of the sea lice in the pen and be able to
This is
determine
not
and classify each of the sea lice to get an accurate count. Over time, our platform will include other types of algorithms in terms of determining the appetite of the fish, in terms of pellet counts, behavioral detection, being able to uniquely identify each individual in a pen and be able to do that on the same hardware. The idea is eventually to be able to use this.
Okay, all these I've already told you. I am not able to find that video. Let me just try one more time. I'll just share this with you again. Yeah. Now you can see this. These are the pens which I was talking about. These are the fishes which they grow. And now this is the device which they are using here. And this is how they can see the lice. And you can see this is a camera. So these are the pens which I was talking about. And they have 200,000 fishes in this particular pen. And see, on their mobile, they can get all the information through the sensor. All these are pens. And every pen will have salmon fish. You can see that the fish. And what the farmer does is basically, use all these sensors to understand the lice on the body, the weight of the fish, and everything they can find out from this particular IoT and the use of AI, and also predict this. So you can see here, these are the pens. The biomass of the fish, data-driven decisions, they can take it from with the help of this. This is the dashboard, how it looks. It tells the farmers on their mobile app that what is the level of water, what is a kind of, from the camera, what is a view, how many lice count, what is a weight of the fish, all those kinds of things, what everything they can tell them. So this is a very, it's again a startup company, students. See, idea can take you anywhere. Don't think that any idea is very small or very big. So this is an example of that. I will now move to deep learning, which somebody, in your class asked me to do it. So we will talk about the deep learning. Just a minute. Okay, so I'm going to share one, slide with you, and this will be, and this particular, after showing you that, I want all of you to do one exercise, and I don't know how this exercise will be done, but then I want your, the center, the trainer to collaborate with us and talk about this. I can help the trainer, but I think he will be a better person to take you through this project. And because just simply listening to me, it becomes a kind of a monologue. You don't learn unless and until you don't apply. So this time I want you all to apply the learning, and see how you can basically use and develop something. So if you remember, somebody asked me about deep learning. Now, what is actually a deep learning? Normally, everybody says that artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning is only one thing. But what I tell you is the artificial intelligence is a broader concept. It has several domain under or several techniques. So artificial intelligence, the goal is to develop techniques which can mimic human behavior or human brain intelligence. That is the objective of artificial intelligence. So it is a technology. Under that, you have a lot of subsets. The first subset is machine learning, which is again a wider concept. So machine learning again is an algorithm which you people are doing. Machine learning is an algorithm which help the programmer to program and develop a particular kind of a expert system which can take a certain data set and predict something. Then again comes the later part comes as a deep learning, which is a subset of machine learning. Again, it uses the algorithm part, the machine learning part, and this is very, very similar to something, a technique of artificial intelligence called neural network, and learn from a vast amount of data. Again, it uses a data set. So data set is used, the power of machine learning is used, and a technique called neural network is used to get a deeper insight and make a strong AI, which I told you in the last class. So to understand this better, we can understand from the word, because deep learning is also called artificial neural network. The artificial neural network is the concept. The name neural network is a concept which has come out from the word of the structure of human brain. The human brain is a very complex organ, and it has millions and millions of neurons. Neurons are the brain cells. If you can see on the left hand side of the diagram, these are one neuron, and like this you have thousands of neurons in your brain, and these neurons are nothing but the machines or computers, which has a power of memorization, keeping storage, which has a power of processing, just like a microprocessor in the computer. It has so many things. So what happens? The neuron, the structure of one neuron cell has, for example, if you can see here, it has a dendrite, it has a node, it has a terminal. What dendrite does? Dendrite connects to all your sense organs. Just a minute. So dendrite connects to all your sense organs, like your eyes, nose, skin, touch, feel, all those kinds, and receive the input. Let's take an example. You touch a hot object. Do you think that should I remove my hand, or should I keep it, let it burn little more, let me get little more pain, then I will remove? You don't think. Immediately you remove hand, because you're not thinking immediately, but there is a thinking and processing going on. What is happening is the sense organ, the skin is the sense organ which take the input. These are all sensors, IoT devices in your body. The human body is made of all these things. So this IoT device or this skin takes the input, take it to the brain, and the brain dendrite receive that particular input and immediately send it to the axon. Axon will connect to a particular nodes, various neuron cells, and ultimately find a one particular neuron which will have a capability to understand the kind of input and process it and give an output. Output will be in the form of action. You hear a noise, a loud noise, immediately you keep a hand on your ear. How does it happen? Your ear IoT device or your sensor will take the input, receive the dendrite, receive that, send it, and immediately connect to the other dendrite through the axon and pass this information, pass this data. Again, this input and the data goes to a certain dendrite, certain neuron cell in the brain, and it processes. That has a processing capability. So there are different nodes of neuron which are connected to each other. One neuron passes the information to the other neuron until and unless they find a perfect neuron which can have a expertise or the knowledge to process that information. So same thing is replicated in neural network. That's the reason why it is called neural network. The neural network has a structure. I will not go deep into the theory. Has a structure where it has a 3 layers: output, input, hidden, and output layers. So all these are different nodes in a computer system or in a system language. The architect is in such a way that any nodes will receive the input. Nodes will receive the input. It can be from an IoT device. It can be from sensors. It can be a camera. It can be anything. And that particular input will be recognized that what kind of input it is and how, which particular system can process this input. Then there is a hidden layer, which is a processor. It will try to find out the proper expert system which has expertise to interpret that input and convert it into an output. So that's how the neural network just work exactly like our human brain. So this is how the the neural network and the deep learning happens. So again, you have to develop this. Is difficult. Some example of the deep learning is the personal digital assistant like Alexa and all. They use the deep learning where they use the technology of natural language processing, where you can have a voice search or you can ask about the weather. They, instead of having a frequently asked question kind of a system, they can ask anything to you can ask and they try to answer you. But normally it is built on an expert system. It helps in recognizing a different kind of unusual pattern or a pattern in your voice or in your command and try to answer accordingly. So that's how the personal digital use deep learning. Also, the self-driving car also use the deep learning technology, where something which is very vague, some data which is very inappropriate. Because see what happens normally, students, the data, a traditional computer with a traditional AI will work on a programmed and a trained manner, which is supervised algorithm, right? And deep learning uses something which is again the subset of machine learning called unsupervised training. So we trained a data set to understand a certain unusual pattern which they don't have in the programming and take a action. So it means to say in a common man language that I'm trained to do certain things. I will drive a car in a certain manner. I'm told and that if there is a red light, do this. If there is this, do this. But what if even if it is a red light and ambulance is coming and you're blocking the way? You have not been trained what to do. Then you use your brain. No, there is an emergency vehicle. I have to clear the way. So it is okay if I cross the red light. This is something called untrained, unsupervised learning. So unsupervised learning is deep learning, where the machine learn and develop an algorithm to understand certain vague data, certain inappropriate data, incomplete data, or certain program, certain things which is not for which they are not being programmed for. So self-driving car also uses that. If there is a condition for which the algorithm is not trained, the data set, the trained data sets doesn't have a kind of a understanding. So what it does, it try to understand just like a human driver, and just I gave you a situation and try to take an action. It will not say we don't know. This particular input is unknown to us. This particular thing is unknown, like I told you, right? If I may show you, I was talking about, so one example I will show you if I can do it in my phone. Let me see. They say, Alexa, will you marry me? I'm sorry, Siri, will you marry me?
I really like what we have now, where you ask me stuff and I tell you stuff. Yeah, that's the stuff.
So you can see that those who have iPhones can try this. I got this answer, right? And I will ask one more silly question to Siri. Siri, do you have a boyfriend?
I'm not sure I understand.
Now the Siri is not able to understand. Maybe the Siri is because Siri is a boy. So maybe I could have asked this some other question, or I'll try it again. Siri, do you have a girlfriend?
There's nothing to repeat.
Okay, fine. Siri, do you have a girlfriend?
I've been told my artificial intelligence standards are too high.
See that? It said that I've been told that my AI standards are very high. And If I have a girlfriend, they will not have that kind of a standard. So this is how basically the personal assistants learn on their own. That's the deep learning. That's the neural network. And then the chatbots, certain kinds of a silly questions. The chatbots are used on all websites, especially by banks. So, and today, most of the 67% of consumers are taking the help of chatbot to understand certain things, to understand many, many things like that. Then you have the translation system. How this translation system work? For example, you go to a foreign country and you are, for example, in European country or in Japan, where people are very particular, they don't want to speak English. Then how do you communicate? You tell them something in English and the translation system convert that into a certain language and it tell that other person in that language, let's say Spanish. And then the person answer you in Spanish and then you get to know that in English. So this is again, you can ask that this is a simple programming system where AI is involved, where deep learning is involved. What if, for example, when we are posting something on a social networking site, you use a lot of lingos, you use a lot of expression or a lot of emojis or a lot of incorrect, sentence or shorten. You may use something like FYI for your information or LOL. So these kinds of languages or short languages which youngsters use, very difficult for certain translation system to understand. So if you're using those kinds of a language, or if your accent is little different, and the machine language basically helps the translation and predict that this might be what you are speaking and try to give that translation. So that's one thing. The facial recognition system also use the deep learning. I was giving you example that what if your face remains same? Can your face remain same? No. You can go a little fat on your face. You can, the boys can grow the beard on their face. You can change the hairstyle. But there are certain features which will not change, like your eye retina and your bone structure. The bone structure inside your skin will not change. So what deep learning does, the facial recognition system, the very advanced one, used especially in your iPhones and all, it basically recognize your face even in dark, or even if you are, suppose I'm wearing if I'm wearing some glasses, then it won't work. But if suppose if my style change, or if I something different in my appearance and all, then what it does, it basically check my eye retina, it check the structure, if you can see in the picture, of the bone which it has taken when I have recorded my photo. Then it basically understand, go deeper into it, and then analyze that is it you or not, and it happens very fast. Then credit card fraud detection, that if there is an unusual pattern in your purchase behavior, every bank uses ANN, the deep learning or artificial neural network, to understand if there is an unusual buying behavior. I'll give you an example. Let's say you use a credit card of HDFC Bank, and you normally use maximum 30,000 every month. And in that, you might be using 10% or 20% basically to, just give me a minute, pay your utility bill, like a telephone bill and all those kinds. And then you use, man, never a time when you use a big amount of money in your bank, you basically use this money and not more than 30. So one day, suddenly, there is a 1 lakh swipe on your card. Immediately you get a phone call from a bank asking you, is it you who has done? But is there anybody sitting manually and checking everybody? There are thousands and millions of customers. No. This is the power. What happens when you do the transaction? That unusual transaction is matched with your usual transaction every month. They make a buying or the purchase pattern of yours, and they match it, and they say, no, this is not matching. This is unusual. The person doesn't spend in one go 1 lakh rupees. So there can be a possibility of fraud. Somebody might have bought your card, and immediately the intention is do the high worth transaction, because after that the person will know and they will block the card. So they detect. This is one example I'm telling, but there are various ways in which I can tell you in the next class that how finance industry or the the banking are using AI or anything like that. Now this is your work. Can I have some trainer, talking to me now? Can I have somebody in the training institute who is actually the trainer, or maybe the somebody, the organizers talking to me?
Yes, ma'am. This is second line faculty, Saujanya.
So Saujanya, have you taught them Python?
Not yet, ma'am. It's in the second chapter. So first chapter we have IoT.
Okay, so I'm giving one assignment.
Yes.
I will send this to the Kyonix, maybe Harinakshi, and
Yes.
she can send it to you.
Okay.
Maybe by the end of whenever you teach Python, I want them to do this project, and I will send the entire link, the video tutorial, and also the coding.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Especially how this is the Jarvis AI. I don't know whether people are teaching that or not. And
Okay.
this is a very interesting project. I want a group of students to develop a virtual assistant.
Yeah,
And
sure.
this virtual assistant can do the weather forecasting. It can launch a game. It can launch window application. It can
Okay.
open a website for you. It can tell you certain things. I'm not saying it can tell you everything like Alexa and not very advanced one. I'll send you the code and the link through email. Maybe by tomorrow I will send through the mail the entire file with
Yes,
the link of the video and tutorial and all to go through it. And I want your student to develop this. Because what happens if I keep on telling or lecturing and telling them the application, and if they don't do it, if they
right.
don't apply it, they won't understand it. So better start with one project. Let them develop using Python one virtual assistant. Whenever you're ready, I'm not in hurry.
Yeah.
Whenever you are doing, I want all the centers to do this. This is very very easy, very very simple. A beginner in the Python also can develop that. Even I will share the code with you, the
Sure, ma'am.
Python code. So when I send the code and the link, go through that. Let the student not copy that code. Let them understand the code and then develop. If they want help, then they can take a help from the code. You can make them understand and develop one virtual assistant. And one particular session, I don't know if somebody is there from Kyonix in this session or not. If I can
Yes,
get
yes, we are there, ma'am. We are there.
so, is it okay if I give them this kind of a project? And
Yes, ma'am. Sorry for intervention. Yes, thank you for this like input from you, ma'am. Actually, we had I'm taking personally AI with the Python for one of my center in Kundapur,
okay,
and also to be part of this program, it's my privilege. So first of all, I just as you discussed, ma'am, we wanted to work on practical. See, once we finishing up these courses, we wanted to have a live experimentations, saying that to connect have an AI with Python, live coding, and it should be patented like as you thought in first session.
yeah.
I still remember those session what we went on.
Hmm.
So we wanted to work on those few live experiments so that any example assignments like this, which will help us a lot, boost us confidence to our students.
So I can keep on finding these kinds of interesting exercise, because see, giving examples is okay, only building and giving them information. So I don't want an
Correct.
information providing session. See, it should
Okay,
be learner oriented rather than content oriented.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
I want the learners to basically develop something. Let's start with virtual assistant because it's simple to do. And when
Okay,
they
ma'am.
do
Okay.
it, they can actually, when they build this particular project, they can, when they're going for an interview, they can showcase that. That this is
Correctly.
my project. Let them put it on somewhere and they can show it that I have developed this. And virtual
Yes.
assistant is one of the simple things which we can do. Then we can move ahead and go to the next step of chatbots, where
Okay,
they
ma'am.
can use. I'm not going to talk about the coding part because that you people are taking care. And
Yes.
but I can help you with those codings and all. I will send you this all the link of beautiful tutorials and all are there. I have
Yes.
used that somewhere some years back and gave it to non software developers, and they could
Oh,
develop the virtual assistant. So your
okay.
students can do a better job when they're learning Python, and
Yes, ma'am.
Jarvis AI can be used. These are all open source applications. You can take it and build it. And you can tell me whenever you people are ready. So what we can do is one session we can have where every center can show their virtual assistant, and maybe they
Yes.
can add on certain things and show us. So this will be interesting for students. Otherwise,
Yes.
it's just learning some concept and forgetting if they can't apply it. So I
Yes.
think we can go ahead and do that. It will
Um,
be, yeah.
Ma'am, to be precise, we have in AI with Python, we have 11 modules actually.
Okay.
Particularly, we are starting with a Python foundation. That's what we planned is, as is well said, we wanted to create a coding basis project, live project, so that each project, I mean, each subject or each module, once after it's covering, we'll have a complete knowledge onto that via practical way.
Okay. Okay. Good. Very good. Very
And
nice. So, but I would like, if it is interesting, you can take it and
sure, sure.
let the student develop this and give them this project. You make them understand, but don't handhold them.
Yes,
After
yes,
they understand, let them use their own creativity. We should not stop the creativity in the students. Let them
correct,
use their own creativity, come out with the better things. We can tell them, okay, this is a project. So
correct.
let them develop something and come. If it's really good, we can go ahead and they can showcase this, and there's a better chance for employment if they develop some project. So that's
Yes,
the first session only. I told that I want students to do something called project centric learning. Okay.
yes.
So into IoT, and today again I have used the same sector, which is the. Just give me a few seconds. Where I kept. Just a minute. So today I'm going to take one case study on IoT. I'm just trying to search where I have kept that particular file. Just a minute. Just give me a few seconds. Just bear with me. If anybody has a question, post it on the chat box while I will just search that particular PowerPoint. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you a video case study. And this is a case study.
I'm here to share a
One
story
minute,
with you
just-
about a
just a
connected
minute.
car. Yes, there is such a thing as a connected.
So let me give you a context before I show you this video. This is a very famous case on IoT, which is even discussed in Harvard, University. And I picked up from there, and it is very interesting one. And then I'll show you how in India the farmers are basically using IoT. Not farmers, especially the cow herders are using the IoT to do certain things. This case, which I'm showing you, the name of the case study is available on YouTube. It's called Connected Cows, and how the IoTs or the sensors are helping the cow herders basically to get the better results, and how it is. So I'm going to show you this video, and after that we will have a discussion on this. So let me share the video with you. So if you see, this is Joseph Shiros. He actually has written this particular, he has developed this particular technology where you can do certain things and you can find out certain things from the cow and how you can use a connection or information derived from the cow.
Connected cow. It's a sexy story. It's got all of the buzzwords of today, the Internet of Things, the cloud, data science, analytics. But it's also about how a little bit of ingenuity can transform even some of the oldest industries in the world. And let me explain what that means. That's a connected cow that I'm talking about. Look at those pedometers on their feet. I'm wearing one of them. It's made by Fujitsu. It's very reliable. There's a 5-year battery. It can survive even the toughest environments in the farm. And it's constantly measuring the number of steps the cow takes. And that data is being sent to the cloud into Microsoft Azure, where there is a service that's analyzing the number of steps the cow is taking. So, do cows need to take 10,000 steps a day too? Before I give you the answer, let's take a step back. Every company is a data company, even the ones you least expect, even dairy farms. Now, dairy farms have all the constraints of a modern business. They have a fixed production capacity. They have a herd that they have to manage. There's farm labor, which is very expensive. So what could a dairy farmer do? Well, there are 2 important controls. First, he can monitor for disease and prevent the loss of herd by early detection. Second, he can improve cattle production by accurate detection of estrus. Now, if you remember high school biology, estrus is when the animal goes into heat. And it turns out that cattle goes into heat only for very short durations of time. That's true about all farm animals, by the way. All animals, they are ready to mate and have children only during very short windows. Well, so there is an incredible leverage point here, and let me explain that with a chart from a scientific paper. These days, with artificial insemination, the conception rate is pretty high, 70%, which is very good. But the methods for estrus detection are age-old. For millennia, it has been the same observation. And even under best observation, you get about 55% accurate detection of estrus. When you multiply the 2 probabilities together, you get about 39% consumption rate. But if you could use technology, if you could move that detection to 95%, well, then look at the improvement you get. 67% consumption rate, up to a 70% improvement potentially in cattle production. That's very material to the farmer. But this turns out to be a harder problem than you think. Well, estrus lasts only for 12 to 18 hours every 21 days. And that 21 days is quite variable as well. And like a lot of these things, it occurs mostly between 10 p.m. and 8 a.m. So what's the farmer to do? The farmer works hard from 5 a.m. in the morning till evening, milking, feeding, maintaining the farm. And now how do you monitor hundreds of cows in your dairy farm for the accurate detection of onset of heat? Could technology help? Could you develop a heat map, so to speak? Well, so a farmer in Japan asked Fujitsu for help. Fujitsu consulted a university researcher. Based on some published research, I traced this to 2005 even. They created a very, very ingenious system that involved pedometers. And they built a service in the cloud that actually provides alerts to the farmer on a mobile phone. This is that system. So there are pedometers on the feet of every cow. It's connected by radio signals to a receiver in the farm. About 300 meters away, the pedometer input can be received. And that one then transmits it over the wire to Microsoft Azure. And there is a service there that analyzes and sends alerts. Well, it turns out, by the way, there is a very simple secret to detecting when a cow turns on, goes into heat. So let me explain that with a graph. This is a normal cow on a normal night. Well, let's see what happens when Betsy the cow turns on. The number of steps she takes shoots up. When the animal goes into heat, it starts pacing very furiously. And that's actually a day-over-day comparison of the number of steps taken by the cow. Turns out to be extremely accurate, 95% accurate for the detection of the onset of heat. And the optimal time for artificial insemination is 16 hours later. That's when you get the maximum conception rate. That's when AI meets AI. Well, it's 95% accurate. And that remaining 5% turns out to be, some of it turns out to be when the cow actually skips the farm and escapes. Well, the Fujitsu researchers found something else very fascinating. Turns out there is a window around that optimum time. And if in the first half of that window, if you perform AI, artificial insemination, you are likely to get a female. And if you do AI in the second half, you're likely to get a male with 70% probability. Amazing, isn't it? Now the farmer has yet another control. Depending upon whether he needs more milk cows or bulls, he can choose to inseminate at the right time. That's amazing. Now, it turns out this estrus detection is a needle in a haystack problem for all types of farm animals. There's tremendous amount of variability. For example, while cattle has a short duration of estrus in a 21-day period, horses, their estrus cycle varies between 10 and 27, and the duration of estrus itself can be 2 to 6 days, anywhere in that. So we're just really starting to scratch the surface with Internet of Things and constant monitoring of farm animals. Well, perhaps you could even learn more from your Fitbit than you thought you could. Well, in God I trust, but all others bring data, said Deming. So let's see some experimental data. Fujitsu ran experiments in 11 farms at the beginning, early trials, and this table summarizes the data, but you don't have to look at all of the data. But they found about 12% improvement in the calf production on an average. Some farms had as high as 31%. Now, this doesn't even include the labor savings, the enormous labor savings from not having to monitor the cows in the dairy farm constantly, and also the health detection. And that, by the way, is yet another fascinating thing. Fujitsu tells me that they can detect about 8 to 10 different types of diseases from the patterns of footsteps and counting the pedometer steps, 8 to 10 different types, because they have different patterns of behavior. Pretty amazing, isn't it? Now, data, analytics, the cloud, they're all very powerful, right? But think about this. Very often when we talk about machine learning, analytics, and so on, we sell ourselves on the data, the algorithms, and so on. But here, it all started with a question. It all started with a farmer asking, why can't there be a better way? It all started then with the technologists following up and designing a system that was extremely easy to use for the farmer. A cloud service, the Internet of Things, a robust pedometer, connecting all of that up into an engineered system that can now be used by farmers worldwide, and then innovating on top of that. So it all starts not with data and analytics, but with an idea, a question. Thank you.
This is what even I wanted to tell you, that everything starts from an idea, right? When I looked at this particular video for the first time, and I also researched on it, because see, research is very important in part of your professional life. And I found that in India also, or in Asian countries also, they're using certain kind of sensors to find the digestive level and the amount of milk a cow can produce. I actually thought on that day while I was driving back home, I was thinking, can we develop a system or a sensor in a human body to solve one of the most difficult problem in our life, that is weight reduction, or calorie, or the kind of fat we have, or also sometimes the digestion problem what we face. So can we have a sensor in our body which can work with certain machine learning and understand the kind of chemicals and predict whether we are going to have a digestion problem, and what kind of digestion level it is, what is our metabolism rate, can we have that? So But then, because I'm not more into development, so I stopped that. So I can't develop, and I don't have that kind of a time to put into action. But maybe one day I may do it. So what I'm trying to tell you and motivate you students are, don't stop your idea. You have a power of technology with you. You have the kind of expert, leading you. Any idea, any problem you face, you are from a village, you see a problem, and find out that how can you develop a affordable and a kind of a technology which is viable in that. You develop a technology which is not viable, then there's no market for it. So something which can be commercialized, some idea which is very cost effective. In India, we believe in a kind of innovation which is called frugal innovation. That means doing more with less. That means you have less fund, but still you want to do better. And India is known in the entire world for that. Think about the ISRO doing the Mars, project, where they could build a kind of a system to go to Mars with a very, very less budget. So you have to come out with solution. Don't stop your ideas. If your idea comes, brainstorm with your friends. Brainstorm with the expertise, teachers, learners, instructor. Search on the net, research on it. Come out, you will find a lot of things related to that. Come out with the idea, develop a system on that. And if you do that, nobody can stop you from giving a job, or you will start your own company. Don't think very small, think big. Be a job provider than the job seekers. This is what actually we do in jail. We tell our students that you should be job provider rather than job seekers. There are so many companies who are so many policies the government has now. If you want, I can help you and tell you one day that the government can give you from 5 lakh to 10 lakh rupees with very low interest and very big tenure, and you can start your own business. How the government support you. There are a lot of structures, there are a lot of labs, virtual labs, and many labs provided by the government for the students to take the help from there and develop certain things. You just have to come out with an idea and work on that. With that, I think I have come toward the end of my session, but I just
Ma'am, I'm Shweta speaking. As you were discussing about the health, that is about the weight reduction, you told, no, ma'am. In the same way, there is a device which helps. That is, if it will be attached to a person. If he is a diabetic, so it will tell what is it will be fixed on the body of a person. Okay. So then that meter will, that is, it is of IoT. It is made of IoT. It will tell that what is the insulin amount he has to take based on the diabetic, that is based on the value of the sugar in his blood.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, that is one thing which I...
Very, very nice. Your name is Shweta, right?
Yes, ma'am. Mainly that is used in pregnancy, ma'am. Okay. In pregnancy times, the woman will not be able to take any other medicines other than the insulin if she is a diabetic patient. So at that time, they'll attach that. So in case if the diabetic goes high, for example, if the sugar levels are 600, 700, to control that, they'll use this. So it will just alert that person how much unit she has to take before the food, or in the mid, if if the sugar level is varying also, it will instruct them what is the insulin level they have to take. And everything will be recorded, ma'am. Whatever the sugar levels are varying. So each and every, that is, I think it is around 15 minutes or 20 minutes, it will give a record to the patient.
Okay, very nice, very nice. See, when I was talking about these things, somebody might have thought about it. Then only these things comes out. Yes, but if you are the first mover, you will get a first mover advantage. See, same thing what I was talking to you about, the IoT in cow. The same thing in Indian company. I will show you the site. It is called Pashudhan Prahari. They have also used the IoT in transforming the Indian dairy system, dairy farming. So they are not using the advanced IoT, what I was showing you in the, the video. But you can read this article, which is a role of IoT in transforming Indian IoT, and you can just see how they are basically using to understand the quality of milk they can produce, the production capability, the efficiency they can increase. So I'm not going to elaborate more. This particular system, what IoT they're using is for cattle management and monitoring. So they have something called smart cow, which where they're using a IoT device to understand. Again, it is like a connected cow to monitor, just like how agriculture, the crop is monitored through this IoT sensors. Similarly, these dairy farmers are also using something which a company has made called LFX and Cowler. This is a company in India which is making a agriculture sensor, the collar tag, which you can see in the tag, yellow tag, which you can see.
Yeah.
Now, what this yellow tag is basically, most of this yellow tag which you see on the cow is insurance company putting it. But the IoT yellow tag, what happens is this particular tag can help in a understanding the temperature of the cow, the health activity, the nutrition about the individual cow, and give the information to the herd. But the herder should be educated to do this. So smart dairy farming is advancing in our country with the help of IoT devices, AI and all. So you can all go. I'll just post this link in the chat box. And if you are interested, you can go through this link and read. Give me a few seconds. So you can go through this and you can see that how IoT and with the help of AI and all learning can do this. So I think now we can wind off. Is there any question I can take? Students are very silent. You are sitting all in the center. If anybody has a query, see, students is not a student if they don't ask questions. If you have a question, you can put in the chat box if you don't want to speak. Anybody, any students who have any doubt or who have any query or who want to tell something to us.
Should be sending in not will be sending. That's what you do.
Ma'am, this is from QNX. Ma'am, assignments, the link is already shared or it will be?
No, I will send a mail. I don't know how to do which to whom I send. I will find out today. I'll not send it today because today it's too late now. I just came from the office. So I'll send it by tomorrow morning. And that link in the entire thing, you can take up, understand, and I think you will know better than me, but you can take up this project. I would like this, but if you feel that there's a better project, you can go ahead and do that. But if the students start with making a virtual assistant using Python or AI or Javas and all, I think they will be interested. They will know that, oh, okay, fine, this is how, and if they see somebody see the output, they are very excited. And maybe, then they can come up with the new ideas. And see, we can start with the already existing application. And then we'll move on to something which is new. By that time, the student will also have a knowledge and the skills built. And then they come up with their own idea. Then we can have a session. Maybe we have decided once we can come to the center physically and interact with the students. I would like to do that. And I will come to the center that time. I'll not take a session. I'll interact with the students and try to understand that what is in their mind. By that time, maybe you people can ask them to come out with certain ideas. Let those ideas, they can put it in the form of document or something. And then we can discuss on that idea, and maybe I can help with my resource and the other expert who are there in you taking the sessions. We all can combine and help the students to develop those ideas. A lot of platform the company is offering nowadays to the students to develop their idea, and we can make something. If it can be patent, it will be helpful for the students, even for the institute. Or if we can publish certain papers, right? Everything starts from the we can start, I can help you in that. We can publish the papers. We can present those papers in IIMs and IITs. I would like actually students to present the papers in IITs, do certain research, present that, And then after presenting, we can get some help from the companies to develop those ideas. That will be helpful for students for their career. They can immediately start up a company if they have this. They don't have to depend and be insecure about jobs. Or even if they have developed certain applications, it will be very helpful for them to get a very good job in this. And in this way, you will be also unique, because this is how the IIT works. The IIT basically help the students to come out with the application part. They teach them something and they develop a project. It's a project-based learning which they use. The student develop with certain work on the project and develop a app, particular app or application, and that helps them to get a better job. So I just tell the students that student, please, be sincere about your own learning, and don't take the sessions or any of the sessions just like that. Don't think that this is just a process for me to get a certificate. You can get certificate by doing any online course. Why do you require to do a live sessions? Why do you require to talk to expert? Why are you going to a training center? Utilize this time, develop your skill, come up with ideas. If you can come up with ideas, you never know that one of you will become a Narayan Murthy. Anand Murthy was just a simple boy sitting in a class next to a person and listening to the lecture, but he came up with the idea and he floated a company, Infosys, and today they are #1 companies in India. So you can also come up with a company, and I will just talk to the director of the clinics and find out whether we can have one session where we can guide the students to those who want to actually do the startup, that what are the different schemes the government has actually where they can go and apply. I can take them to where we use this in our university, where we help the students to become entrepreneurs. If they have ideas, they can come up and we can tell them that from where they can get the fund and how easy to apply for the fund and how they can do the research on it and how they can go ahead and use, because they might have idea, but they don't know how to go about and float a business out of that idea. Right. So we can do that. So I'm going to take your leave now. Thank you for this opportunity. Let us see in the next session if the students could have given me a feedback, because one student told me she want to learn about deep learning. So I did that session and I thought let the student do something related to deep learning, and we came up with this project. So if the student wants something, sir, you can just send the input. All of you can send me the input through QNX, and I may take up the next session, but you have to tell me at least 1 or 2 days in advance, because then I have to prepare accordingly the session. Otherwise, I'll do what I want to do. If you, it is becoming more teacher centric to me. I'm doing what I want to do. I want to actually do what learners want me to, do. It should be a learner centric, not the instructor centric. At present, it is becoming just like that. So let the student tell me that what they want to learn, and then we can take that session on that.
Yes, I'm sorry to interrupt. Ma'am, one last, as we were, as I was researching very nowadays, just past from a week, United Arab countries, as you're well aware of it, they have an UIDs numbers. They have an UID numbers. Like every residence, they have an UID numbers. Suppose, insist they have to change their one house to another house, they have to clear what are the existing house, whatever the remaining rents or anything advance or any legal issues or any complaint on them, they have to clear all that whatever the process are there. Only if then the other house or owner, they will let them to take on the rent. That is what the process which is going in abroad always. Not only in this application, for all the example of all the documents, it's all in all e-office documents.
Okay.
They can access anywhere. So I heard that I'm just going through the documents, ma'am. So they're using extensively artificial intelligence with Python extensively for that, inclusive of cyber crime. I just wanted to take a case study on that, ma'am. Could you please help us with that?
Yes. What I suggest you, what is your name, sir?
My name is Ashwin, ma'am. Ashwin from QNX.
Okay, Ashwin. Yeah. So, Ashwin, what you can do is, if you can take that as a research project.
Yes, yes,
and I
ma'am.
would suggest you start by, instead of directly making an application, what you can do is study the that country system and
Yes,
the way they do it. and understand from the Indian perspective what is our problem here, and try
Okay.
to develop a research on that and prepare a
Okay.
paper. Then I will help you in publishing, first presenting in IIMS or maybe in
Okay.
IIT. And once it is, we get a feedback on that, we can publish and then go
Okay.
ahead with the developing a system on that. So start
No,
from
no,
research.
Actually, I was a part of a startup cell. We have in Bangalore, in Karnataka, we have a startup cell, ma'am. Startup cell is all about giving an incubation or opportunity to new entrepreneurs. So they will be evaluating parameter, like they'll be insisting with PwC corporations. They will be interviewing the new projects, as you rightly said, the new projects which will be innovated by all the new entrepreneurs. They will be scrutinizing those all projects, whether it will be executed in our real time or in keeping in consideration of our Karnataka or any applications, whether it is applicable for real time. If that real time, if it happens, so my government is very okay to say that they're giving to fund, they're ready to fund, or they're ready to give an incubation place to them. They're ready to build for whatever the teams, whatever the inclusive remuneration also, they're able to help them. Actually, to be in fact, I was a part of the startup cell meet in previously 2021 from through one company called a name called Famewell organization. I was just part of the team. I had in previous this idea regarding this. Initially, I was not about thought about AI with Python so much extensively will be used in this sort of applications. I was at that time I was just learning all these processes. Now, as you giving a lot of examples, ma'am, I am going through a lot of gaining a lot of experiences onto that.
We at DO will also talk to the not the madam, let madam go.
So a lot of experience on to talk. So that's what, ma'am. I'll share this documents to you, ma'am. So kindly we'll start work onto this thing, ma'am, so that at least for AI with Python batch, it's a real-time project. If it's with your guidance, if it's success, no, ma'am. Under your guidance would be a great privilege to facilitate that.
That's what Ashwin I want. I feel that at least this batch or whatever you people have started a very good initiative. It should result in some productive output. Students should work on project and end up like what you should do is you are training and give them a project. It should end with a project. Every group come out with idea and develop a project. Then only it is fruitful. Then you never know that one of the students out of that project or maybe one group may float a company, and then it will be added to your advantage also that QNX has helped the students in startup. These are the startup which actually initiated from QNX. So this is how the students will have a fruitful experience. Otherwise, it is just learning. They can learn even anybody can learn from YouTube or from any of the online courses which are available. Why they need you? If you can't give them a guidance, if you can't guide them to a project, help them in becoming entrepreneurs or getting a job.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, this is the course director, Dr. Sarit Kumar. Let me tell you a bit of a background about this project. This project is being run by 14 franchisees, and these franchisees have been given second line faculties who are 14 in numbers. So I think if the faculties take the role of, on their head to take up one project each, you're getting 14 projects. That is one. Second is we also have a third line, which is the MCA students who are doing the practical. So what ma'am you rightly said is let these faculties and students work together rather than giving the project to the students. What do you say? What is your take on that?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The faculty should be in collaboration. The faculty in one team and the students in groups. You divide them into groups. Not all the students can do. Brainstorm, come out with the ideas. First, let them do some real-time application which are available just like that, what I have given today to them with the coding. Let them do that. They will get the confidence. And when they gain the confidence, let them go through these sessions where they can understand, okay, these applications are also there. And I have a problem here. I have seen this problem. Can we do something similar, but little bit unique in that? And then faculties and the students can first write a plan or develop the idea, write a research paper if they want to do it, and or a startup where they can make a thing, and it can be patented also. They can start a company also from there. So there are so many opportunities or so many avenues which you can open up for the students to start a company, to take up a job, to patent any idea, to develop a project, so many things. Maybe this can become a very big thing, and that's how the IITs and all these people work. They make students apply that and come up with real-time projects.
Yes, thank you very much.
So I think just signing off now today from the session, and I feel I next time I want students to actually interact. I feel students sitting silently, not interacting too much. So let the students at least interact or write something or tell something. Maybe you can use a mic where the students can speak to me directly and have an interaction. Or maybe if you, Sarit sir, if you suggest when we go to the center, we can have an interaction session.
We have planned, ma'am, sometimes in October. We are planning one visit of yours and my experts there in the center. What we are going to do is, we are going to put on about 8 to 10 districts on one day, because I know you have told that maximum possibility is morning and evening return. So we are trying to facilitate that. That will happen in October, where at a time you will be visiting about 100 students. And you can interact with them. By that time, they should be ready with their idea and a project. This is what I feel. That will be a better visit and a better outcome of the visit.
I think that's a great idea, because let them first do the certain kind of project and show us.
Yes.
Once we have done this, and then we can go them and track. By the time they are also ready, they are prepared, they have skill, knowledge, and they come out with the idea, and then we can work together and track. Because the physical.
Maybe we can have, madam, we can have an idea function that day. Let about these 100 students divide themselves into a group of 5 to 10 and give 20 idea function, covered by the faculties. The faculties will be mentoring them. And then that day you can see those 15 to 20 projects that day. That will be a better visit than, visiting simply and interacting with them. Let them showcase their project to you. That will be a better input, I feel, when you visit.
That's a great idea. Maybe they can prepare a presentation initially if
Yes,
or not.
absolutely.
And then we can think that what is the viability of that. We can judge and maybe they can develop that, and maybe online session they can show us. But physically it will be more on that basis. So if
and let it be evaluated. You evaluate them and you give them marks. That be part of the certification. If they don't do it, then we will definitely give a bit importance to certification.
That's what I'm saying, that instead of giving them a short answer question where they wrote or they write something, and let them your assessment should be project based. Let them
experts are free to do anything. It's your baby. If you want that they should do project, they will do project. It is you who will decide. If you feel that these small time questions are not working, we are absolutely in agreement. You give them project. You can write to Harinakshi or Shweta or Ashwin. They will coordinate all these things, and when you visit them, you can evaluate those projects. Okay. No problem.
No issues.
No. Thanks a lot, ma'am. Thanks a lot.
Okay, I'll take a leave now. So,
franchisees and faculties, please stay back. You are not going. We are going to talk to you after this. Thank you very much, Anitha ma'am. Thank you very much. Yeah. Franchisees, please don't go, and students also. See, you've understood by now the experts want the students to talk. Students are not talking. What are we doing? We are filling up with our faculties. The second line faculties are knowledgeable, they will talk. They will get further knowledgeable. Now I want the third line, fourth line, especially the fourth line faculty and the students to talk. Because let me tell you, you have a tremendous opportunity. Madam has told you that if your project is good, she will put you onto the IIMs and IITs. And once you get a recognition from IIM and IIT, I mean, why are you worried about a job? Job will come hunting for you. So these are all opportunities being given to you. Franchisees, please don't sit there as a franchisee head. See at least the projects to come from your center, and the best center, I will tell you the best center which will be nominated in the month of December and will be really taken care of, will be the center from where the maximum trained project-centric students come out. So franchisee, the whole ecosystem should be that you should motivate, because these expert sessions are knowledge deliverable sessions. And these sessions are the sessions where you will have a big name and fame. And imagine the day Madam is coming, or Sabyasachi is coming, Anil is coming, or Somajit is coming, and they are evaluating these projects. I mean, that day you can write a newspaper, you can call the press, let the press cover it. Where you will reach, I mean, the government will take a note of it and you will automatically get a governmental project. She's talking about startup, she's talking about startup ecosystem, she's talking about project-centric learning. This is what Meena Nagaraj also said. This is what your Startup Karnataka is saying. So this is what NEP is saying. So in these, when we showcase this to the government, automatically QNX is going to get a project. And if QNX gets a project, you get a project. So franchisee, please understand, money will come only when your students are better qualified and they do this project. Student, this is not a classroom session. Let me again tell you, this is not a classroom session. This is a project-centric practical learning session, which students have to talk. I allowed till now 3 expert sessions are over. Experts are getting a feeling that students are dumb people here. All useless students are taking admission in QNX. Please let them not carry that impression. I want from the next expert session, I think when is it? After 2 days again.
15th.
After 15th, 17th.
15th. No, 15th, sir. 15th. Day after tomorrow.
Today is 15th, no? Today is
No,
15th.
today is 13th.
Okay, on 15th, when the session happens, I want student to speak. Somewhere or the other, I think the local faculty is not doing a good job. And I'm very sorry to say, that is why my experts are going to go to the field now. They have been doing online sessions, students are not even opening their mouth. So what online learning they are learning, I don't know. So now my second line has to go in the field and teach them. That is all the more giving me a reason. Dio sir has come? Is Dio sir come? He also wants to address you.
Yeah.
He has come? Dio sir has come?
Yeah, he's there.
Okay. Sir, you can address from your room, sir. Sir, you can address from your room if you want. Madam has told them to do a project-centric learning. I have told madam that each and every 14 franchisees will create a project. When madam and these experts will come to the field, they will see these projects and evaluate these projects. The best project, madam has told, she'll try to showcase in the IIMs and IITs. So I think this is the biggest opportunity which our franchisee has, which our students have. If they are not taking these opportunities with both the hands, I mean, there's no point in running these sessions. These sessions are not classroom sessions. These sessions are sessions where they have to learn, and the 4th, 3rd and the 2nd line evaluation is only on this. If they are not able to make students speak in these expert sessions and ask questions. See, today Ashwin has spoken, Shweta has spoken, they are all faculties, 2nd line faculties. My faculties are improving, students are not improving. What is the use? Students, finally, what did she madam said today? It is the student-centric learning. Students have to speak. So please, students, already 30 days are over. You are not even opening your mouth. Please, I don't think you are writing the assignments. There is your faculty writing the assignment or your franchisee is writing an assignment for you. If you are not opening your mouth, that means you are not writing assignments. Please write assignments which has already been given to you. Today night, tomorrow night. If you want to have a sleepless night, have a sleepless night, I don't care. But 15th, I want my student to speak. Am I clear, franchisee?
Yes, sir.
Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes,
I
sir.
want my students to speak now.
Yes, sir.
Faculties, you speak, because I don't want to carry an impression, experts should not carry an impression that our students are dumbos. They are simply coming, sitting there, hearing something, going. No. I want my students to speak, and they also want students to speak. Like they are not very happy. You have given a wonderful feedback. So what? They know they are good. I am good, I know. What you are giving feedback? Please understand. Students, understand one thing. You are giving a very good feedback to the IIT IIM professors. IIT IIM professors know they are very good. But we will be very happy if you start learning the way they are asking you to learn. So next 15th when the session happens, I want students to be very interactive. For that reason, you please study IoT, AI, whether you have taken IoT or not. At least you have taken AI, ask questions on AI. Ask those who have taken IoT, ask questions on IoT. Those who have taken cloud, ask questions on cloud computing. Those who have taken machine learning, ask questions on machine learning. You ask questions from your domain. They will be happy. Otherwise, they are carrying an impression. Please understand. They are carrying an impression that students have just come for a classroom session. No. Students, please fall in line. That is why my second line is traveling to the field now. Because it is not happening. Online courses are not giving you any. So my second line will start traveling, and if then also you don't speak, I will pull up my second line and third line. That means they are not doing their job. So students, please be prepared to study 16 to 18 hours. Project-centric, practical application. You have seen how presentations are done by the expert. I want my students to do this after 2 months. After 2 months, my students should do a presentation as the experts are doing. That is what learning is all about. Not simply listen. You will not listen now, you will talk. Start talking. 15 days have gone. Yes, sir. Dio, sir.
Sir. Not a regular person. Creating your idea and hello. ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Probably, I think everybody heard about the madam, what she was delivering. It is all assignment oriented, project oriented, and the learners oriented, right?
Yes, sir.
I have seen only number of questions in the chat box is only 4 or 5. And your questions should be always based on what they are teaching on the line. Okay. So it's only not the teaching, it's only discussion she is doing, presenting live examples and practicals, examples, all those things she was explaining. And she was giving actually the doses to every student, stating that they have to ask the questions. She has given you the options. Anybody makes a good project, I think that will be taken to some next higher level. If the next higher level accepts that, then the future is created very well. So all the students who are there actually in the centers are those who are logged in. So take whatever the books you have on AI, all those things, what are the course you have taken. Just glance that and search for all the things what the madam told and make the projects day in, day out, 24/7. And put it up to the concerned authority, maybe your franchise center, or maybe to the second line teachers, or maybe to their email or chat box, whatever the things. Then they'll see everything and they'll get back to you with new innovations, new ideas, and new things to you actually. Then all these things becomes a part of your curriculum, part of your career later on. Okay. Students.
Yes, sir.
Students should
Shankar is talking. Shankar, you are not student, Shankar. Where are the students?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I can hear only one
Yes,
word.
sir.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir. Okay. Study that, make some points, ask any clarifications, questions, and they will deliberate on that in the next session actually, right? Huh? Got it. Why shall the computers be? The students are laughing actually.
Sir. They were laughing.
I don't know whether they are hearing, listening, or simply sitting and watching somebody down the line, right? 3 + 3, 6 fellows are there, no? Why don't you react properly, Baba? Why shall 6 fellows? We are viewing everybody sitting at the head office, no? We are seeing all the 14 franchises center and the students. Please, we are on behalf of the Kionics and on behalf of yourself, I am requesting all the students to catch up the issues immediately. Okay. Turn back. Turn back, Vaishali. Huh? All the best, students. All the best. Thank you. Sir, you can take over the mic, sir.
Yes, it's okay. Today, so I told already, you have also told. Next session, I want to see the students talking now. That is on 15th. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.